Jenny, after you've typed this one up, please let me look over it before sending it out. Also, could you tell Larry he hasn't fixed the fridge in the staff kitchen yet? He says he has, but he hasn't. Something smells in there. Okay, on to today's case file. Case file number 29. I've labelled this one Winter's Hand. On February 18th, I was asked by the Campbell family to look into the disappearance of their daughter, Patricia. Although she was 18 and living in her own flat, Patricia's mother and father were concerned because they hadn't heard from her for over a week. During the interview, I asked if Patricia had exhibited any strange behaviour lately. Reluctantly, the parents told me that she had seemed distant, barely speaking with them at all. Then, the Sunday before she disappeared, Patricia's parents called on her, bringing with them a Sunday roast. When Patricia opened the door, she let them inside, but her eyes seemed glazed over. While the family sat at a table and ate their meal together, Patricia began laughing uncontrollably. She then went into a rage and threw her plate at a wall. Her parents left, distraught, because their daughter had never acted like that before. I was given a spare key to Patricia's flat to see if I could find any evidence for where she might be. The police had turned up very little so far, but when looking through an address book, I saw that Patricia was a fine artist. She had doodled various drawings in the upper corner of each page in sketched pencil. One drawing stood out to me. It was two deer horns crossed over with a lidless eye at the centre. I'd seen this before in the Halbrook case. At this point, my suspicions proved correct that Patricia was in real danger. I just needed to find out where they had taken her. Time was of the essence. Unlike the Halbrook case, luck was on my side. I noticed that one of the address pages had been torn out. Taking a rubbing from the page underneath with a pencil, the impression on the paper revealed what had been written on the missing page. It was a number, the latitude and longitude of a location. This led me on a train to the Highlands, and then out to Rannoch Moor. The vast moor stretched out in front of me, with the Blackmount mountain range bearing down in the distance. Most of it remained a wilderness, streams and watery pools breaking up the difficult terrain. I trudged on for an hour towards the coordinates. I wasn't covering as much distance as I had hoped, and the winter sky was already beginning to darken. That was when I saw a light. It was dim, but distinct, and as I continued following the coordinates, it became clear that the light was coming from my destination. I tried my best to make good time, but when I could see that the light was coming from a small wooden cabin, I began to hear voices. They were indistinct, chanting something. There wasn't much time. I slid down a small hill and then moved up a steep gradient towards the cabin. The sky was now dark, and as the chanting voices reached a crescendo, the light went out. That was when I heard a gruff sound, like a growl, low and animal-like. But I swear I heard it speak, a few unintelligible words which sounded like a forgotten language. Then the cries of terror began. I moved up the hill, but as I got within a few feet of the cabin, I heard a deafening crash. The shock wave must have knocked me onto the ground, dazed. I was barely conscious, but I remember smelling something foul like rotten, wet fur or hair. A large horned shape was looking down at me and breathing on my face. Then it was gone. I heard a few loud crunching footfalls and nothing more. Struggling to my feet, I gained my senses. The side of the cabin had been torn open from the inside. What was left was covered in human remains, bones, blood, and a large flap of skin which had caught on a broken piece of wood. Unlike the Halbrook case, it appears that whatever they summoned this time was angry and hungry. Why it didn't feed on me, I don't know. In the corner of the room was what remained of a broken chair. It was wooden, and someone had been tied to it. I found a trainer sitting underneath it. Jutting out of it was part of Patricia Campbell's severed leg. I was too late. The authorities have decided that Patricia was never found. I disagree with that decision. It gives her parents false hope. That seems callous to me. But what do I know? I'm just an investigator. If it's worth anything, I recommend that we research the occult group responsible for both the Halbrook case and now Patricia Campbell's death. I have a feeling this isn't the last we'll hear from them. The cabin has been destroyed, and I recommend that the ground there be covered in salt to cleanse any residual energy. Okay, Jenny, that's all for today. I'll look over the finished report when you're done. And god damn it, we have to get Larry to fix that fridge. It smells like someone died in here.